So everybody has the agenda. So number one item to reflect on the 11-4 town vote. Anybody? Okay. We'll move right along. Let's review and approve the final report. This is what was sent to us, Arian, and I'm hoping most of us printed it.
It was online also, so that edits could be made in the document. I'm trying to get a copy of it pulled up. So
And
I
Arian,
also have a spare copy
perfect.
that I accidentally printed, so I printed too, so if anyone wants it.
I would think it's fair.
so Arian, do you want to do this section by section?
I think I think if we did something similar to what we did when we had the report, when we had the recommendations to the select board on the recommendation for the grant application, if we sort of did it something like
Okay,
that.
so I'm just going to ask then, do we start on number one or the introductions?
Before we start getting into it, I have a question.
Yeah.
How did we didn't talk about submitting a final report as a group, so I'm just curious how we got here.
We did talk a couple of meetings about doing the final report as a group, and we talked about the outline of the final report and how it would significantly be based on the community development block grant application. And so
We were checking in to see where we were at. We didn't say that we were done, so I'm just confused. If you look back at the notes, we didn't say that we were submitting a final report.
the intention of those specific agenda items was to preface that we were moving towards the final report based on the fact that significant parts of the grant and in conversation, significant parts of the project had been outlined in the grant application. Okay. And therefore turning that into a final report based upon our charter document was the next logical step to take.
I also thought that the select board was sort of expecting some kind of a summary at the end of our work.
Totally fine. I think there's just a misunderstanding between what a progress report is and wrapping up, but we're here.
Okay. Aaron, do I start with the introduction to approve that, or with number one? Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just like the context of this document, and never mind. I think I understand. So it's turning the grant application into a final report. A lot of, when I'm reading through this document, a lot of it reads like recommendations, but it doesn't feel like quite what we're doing because of the context of the town vote failing, which there was a quiet moment when we were reflecting on it internally. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think there is kind of this assumption that the EVEAC, this committee, is because of the failure of the bond vote for the $600,000 loan, and the fact that, and I don't understand the full context, but that we were not recommended for grant funding means that we are unlikely to receive those grant funds. And so we are taking that to mean that the town is not going to be involved in this project, right? So our advisory committee is disbanded, right? That feels like something that you all discussed as chair members and kind of decided and have been operating under that context. I'm totally comfortable with that context, but I think it just also needs to be said out loud.
And I'd like to know if anybody has information as to why we were turned down as part of that review process, if they gave any feedback.
Not yet.
We're waiting to meet with them.
And when's that meeting?
I don't know if we actually have a date set up. We've been asking to meet with them, but I'm not sure we have a date yet.
But that feedback will be shared publicly?
It was a public grant application.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see any reason why not, but.
Who's we? When you say we're going to meet,
The
like-
grants committee
Oh, okay.
with Karen Hatcher, because she's the person who is working most closely
Yeah.
with submitting the actual grant.
Right.
And so Pat Moulton, Josh Pitts, it's whoever's on that committee, Arian and I are on it,
Oh, okay.
Karen, Josh, and I don't know if Liz Curry will participate in that or not. But I'm sure it's Karen's meeting, really, that she's trying to get.
Well, they have to give you a reason, and they said they would, so. Now, the timeline is not that
They don't
specified.
seem to be,
My understanding is that they do offer feedback, and,
Yes.
and my understanding from Karen is that they've said, yes, they will provide that, but I do think the question of when is, I think it's one of those things, what does soon mean?
Right, right.
Everything that was funded, as I understand, everything that was funded were finished houses. Nothing was funded, I think that's correct. Nothing was, that was a stark difference between our proposal and the other things. Everything else, they were gonna be done. We were gonna build it. That's the guess as of now as to what, but we haven't been told.
Do you guys want to move agenda item 3 ahead of agenda item 2, so we can all agree that this is?
I didn't hear you, Walker, I'm
Do you
sorry.
want to move agenda item 3 to agenda? to
Sure.
now, so that we can all
Yeah, I'm
agree
fine.
that this is our final report and, sort of be unified a little?
Do you want to move that? Do you want to make a motion on that, Walker?
I motion to move agenda item 3 to agenda item 2 and 2 to 3.
Okay.
Okay.
We can just accept the change of agenda order and discuss your motion. So there's a motion on the floor to recommend that the select board, that this be the last meeting of this committee. So discussion on that.
Yeah, I think because the select board is, appointing an overall housing committee to look at all housing issues in Plainfield, that the sort of momentary ad hoc committee that was created out of the Plainfield Forward is a groundwork for that, and that's gonna feed into whatever committee is happening. I think it's good to have one committee, not 2 or 3. Considering bond vote failed, which is sort of part of the go forward, not go forward portion of the town charter that we have. I think that, to a certain extent, us as a public body, our work is done. In this context, it could be taken up by the larger town housing committee.
I don't know what more we can do to prepare the project.
If it's private, it's private. If it's the town housing committee, it's the town housing committee.
I agree.
Further discussion on Walker's motion?
It was a good summary. I thought it was a good summary.
Okay, all those so the motion is on the floor. Walker's made the motion that we recommend to the select board that this be the final meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Liz seconded it.
Aye.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry, I was a little confused.
Okay, I'll restate it.
It's like, ooh.
If there is no objection, we shall, by unanimous consent, transmit this vote to the select board. Seeing none, it's done by unanimous consent. Now we'll go back to approving the draft of the final report. So I guess we'll go for the introduction. And any changes, comments on the introduction? And if not, can we have a motion on the introduction? Unless I should go right to number 1.
I have a question. So the only version I have has a lot of, like, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Is that what we're voting on?
It
It's my
is.
understanding that yes.
Which one is,
Yeah,
I'm trying to get the document on the screen.
Like the plan as a whole was passed by the EVEAC on such and such a date by vote of XX. It's what Arian was talking about before that we did with the different sections of the grant application, so that we went section by section to
I
vote.
see. I got.
So we just want to go on record as knowing how people are responding to this.
Yeah, No, I apologize. In my quick review on a break, I saw some X's and I thought, oh, we have stuff to fill in, but it's just our decision. Okay, I apologize for my.
No apologies
Does that
necessary.
make sense though
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Okay, and so
Okay.
so just like the recommendation on the grant application, each section has a sentence at the end that says, here's was the vote on the section. And as a Google Doc, there've been a number, it looks like there's a number of comments and questions to go through in the different sections. I mean, my proposal would be that we go, that when we're going through section by section, we review each of those comments and discuss them. And maybe if people have additional comments that they did with pen and paper, that would be the appropriate time. Does that make sense? And the document is up. I don't know if let me see if I can make this bigger though, because it's a little hard to read.
Yeah, I don't understand the
Arian, I'm
question.
gonna have to ask that it be read, because
Sure.
I cannot see it. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
is this any better?
Come on.
Even though,
I'll just look over Walter's shoulder, thank you.
does it seem like the focus is soft on there? Am I the only one that seems like, it's a little soft?
Maybe a little.
I thought that was just me.
I know.
Everybody's like, that's my-
How many of us have a copy of this in hand?
I don't.
I do,
We do,
on my
okay,
phone.
good.
Well, I got this. Yeah, as long as this.
Can we, for purposes, take the introduction and the outline as number one to discuss and approve that?
Yeah.
Okay, so any additions, corrections to the introduction or the outline?
Okay.
Liz?
Oh, this hand.
No, Vicky, I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Oh, sorry. So I'm just curious because I realized that this says goals, but we had a scope of work that was also on the second page of the goals as part of the original document, which talked about developing and preparing all permit requirements, day-to-day construction, our recommendations, pricing for the lots. Those are things that we did not include, and I don't see them listed anywhere that we didn't include them and for the reasons we didn't include them. So I'm just wondering if we need to say something in this report that, the timing, wasn't appropriate timing to, to do them, but that was part of the scope of the effort, and it's nowhere spoken to here. Just need some comments or thoughts about that.
I was wondering about that too, because number 2 on it mentions getting a public vote on the project, so I didn't know if you vote on the budget counted as that vote.
On the bond, not the budget.
Yeah, the bond.
That's what can be voted on.
So is there a proposal for some specific wording in a specific location?
I don't know if you want to just add a section that says, following goals and scope or something, and then list that the following scope items were, I don't know, not addressed due to some reason. Somebody has some other thoughts about that, but just so we acknowledge we didn't do them, and they did ask us to do them.
Yeah, like project management plan, lots of
Yeah.
sales plan, permanent plan. That's where,
I would just add technically, that vote was certainly not a vote on the project, it was a vote on the bond. One could interpret it any way one wants, it's a reasonable interpretation to say that it was against the project, but it's not an accurate one,
I
really.
think my thought was, along with Vicky, saying that we should just acknowledge why we didn't do whatever items in the scope.
So again, I'll re-ask Arian's question, is there a specific edit that should be added, and
Does it make sense to do it here at the beginning in the introduction after the,
Yeah, in the same place.
after the sort of large portion from the charter? Does that seem like the appropriate place?
Yeah, to me it does. I mean, it's just repeating what was in the original document from the
Right,
select
which is
board.
Yeah, because
what
the
we've
rest-
done here, right? Yeah, we've taken items 1 through 10 were from the original document. Basically.
essentially what this is, I mean, if you look at the portions
Yeah.
that we haven't completed, all we're doing is we're adding the advice. If this permitting plan is gonna go forward, like if some project on this property is gonna go forward. This is what we have, this is the best that we have so far. I think that's, you know, we didn't complete it, but that's what we have.
Well, I think anything we didn't complete because we were waiting to see what happened with the bond vote.
Right. Like,
So-
we didn't do a lot sales plan necessarily because
Well, we had a marketing plan in the grant application itself, which is partly in
that
here.
was the start of it, yeah.
Is it a fair statement to say something like the charter included several aspects that were not possible to accomplish due to certain prerequisites not being met? Because there's certain things where it's like the pricing of.
I just think something so
Okay,
that
because
they
the pricing
would
of the lots, for example, strikes me as something that it's like, well,
Right.
that's such a further down the
Right.
line thing.
right, it's just acknowledging what they asked of us and that we, you know, we weren't able to complete that for various
Times
reasons.
changed, but that was written a year ago.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And so if we were to say that specifically those aspects are, Vicky, you had a really good list. Maybe you could enumerate them
Let's
so we
see, they talked about informed design recommendations. I don't know if you want to include that one or not, but we haven't finished that. Develop and prepare all permitting requirements. Day-to-day construction recommendation, I don't know, using professional agents, and how to sell parcels and pricing.
I mean, I guess there's a certain amount of like the day-to-day planning. I mean, we did have some in the grant, and I believe in this document, and maybe we need to revise the specifics when we get to that section. It does talk about some of the management tasks that would be needed, and states that some of them could be accomplished by several people or one person in that section, which is section project management plan. Certainly, developing all permits, that is impossible because there's certain things that, you know, you need a final design, for example, to.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And then,
Yeah, that's just a
There's
source.
no way you can do a day-to-day build.
Right,
Yeah, that-
exactly, you know,
That seems like, yeah,
Right.
on Wednesday the 2nd, you're gonna do
Yeah.
1, 2, and
right,
3. That seems
exactly,
kind of
you know.
impossible. Yeah.
I do want us to acknowledge number 2, though, is getting a public vote on the project as soon as possible. That's the wording.
We never did that, and
Yeah.
the select board committed to that at town meeting, and it's not happened, so.
That's why I want it to be
Yeah.
included. And I will say that the select board said that because it's a grant, well, but not the project, but the grant, like the only votes that the town would hold that's binding is on money. And that's why the bond vote, in some interpretations, was the vote, because there were no other votes that would be binding.
Right, I think, I interpreted the bond vote as the vote that is referred to in the document, but.
Yeah, I did too, but it's not, but you would get pushback on that,
Right, because that wasn't the
Because
word. The
it's not
select
on
board
the
has already said
project.
they don't see it that way.
yeah. So I think it's important we acknowledge it, and then they do what they want with that information, but we're acknowledging it.
So, I'm sorry, can somebody say, to make that a bullet point? So we have developing all permits, that seems pretty clear. I just put fully actionable lot sales plan with specific lot pricing. And then how would you suggest doing the
public
last one?
vote, the select board decided not to have a public vote,
Okay,
Yeah.
That's the charter.
because I know for a fact people asked for it.
That's from the
I remember being actually voted
um,
Can I get a point or, talk for a second? Number 2, it says successful financing is achieved, such as a project bond vote successfully passing, or a grant or other funding is obtained.
Yeah, we didn't do either one.
No, we didn't.
Other
We did
funding
an
is still.
Unsuccessful
down the road.
bond vote.
Yeah,
Where,
but other funding could be chip or
what do
something
you
like
think
that down
the
the road.
wording? So
Where's
it's
the
under
public vote?
scope of vote, scope of work,
Scope of work.
yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
2. There.
Number 2, the first number 2.
Oh, gee.
In scope of work,
With the goal
Yes.
of getting to a public vote on the project as soon as possible.
That's,
That one?
yeah,
Yeah, that one.
oh, yeah, that is, yeah. I just have mine zoomed in. Isn't that 2? Oh, it's this number, that's why.
Right.
So should we just say there that the select board decided not to,
Yeah.
that they held a public vote on the bond, but that a public vote on the overall project was not held?
Yeah.
I mean, legally, I think it wasn't actually necessary for them to do that, because my understanding is that the vote was for any borrowing or expenditure of funds, but that they were not legally required to hold a vote on the project overall.
They were not, but that's what the work scope of work says they would do, and that's what they said they would do at town meeting.
And I think
Yeah.
we're just going back to what the scope of work basically said and what didn't get accomplished.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly,
they're
and
just,
that's what we're just clarifying that.
just putting bullets there, they can do with it as they want, but we're just tying the knots up, I guess.
You can't handle it.
Could I, something from the internet here?
Yeah,
I think an appropriate time, like my understanding as the select board moved towards having the bond vote, that it came out that there were certain things you can vote on and can't vote on. The fact that they have in the scope of work, the language that we will have a vote on the project, to me, that's a reminder that the scope of work in that document is an imperfect document. And as we go through this process tonight we do have to follow the letter of the law, but also keep in mind the spirit of the law of what is the select board going to want from us in all of these things. And it seems like we do have to kind of thread the needle between exactly what, as it's written, but also like, what do we think they want?
Yeah, I just see this as a synopsis, just here's what's kind of like the history of it. Here's what you said, here was the scope you defined, here's what didn't take place, and just keep moving with it. That's, it's just, here it is, here's what you wanted, here's what we did, type thing. Oh, that's really good.
much better.
For those on the internet, it's so blurry, we can only see a white square. Oh, he's closer.
It's looking good there for a minute.
That looks good to me.
It does look better.
Well, until your hand's gotten away.
You know, what, I'm just gonna I'm gonna go get it if possible.
I like it.
I'll be right back.
No, I wouldn't apply.
Wipe off the glass, it's all done.
Yeah.
Seems like it's not quite as straightforward as I thought.
Yep.
Is it if you're in space?
I couldn't,
Handle it.
I couldn't.
Okay, where are we?
Does that
Okay,
third
let's
point,
go.
does this third point make the most sense? I'll read it aloud. While a public vote on the land purchase bond was held, a public vote was not held on the project as a whole.
Yep.
Seems perfect to me.
Okay, do we have any other additions to this section?
To only the outline section.
Yeah, so this is still section 1, introduction.
And the outline, we're gonna do at the same time.
Uh,
So are any more to the introduction and the outlines, any more changes?
can I just
Is there
clarify?
unanimous consent?
I just
Go
want to
ahead,
ask a
Vicky.
point, I'm sorry. Are we only talking up to the point where, before we start getting into the overall timelines? And
Yes.
Talking everything above that, right?
Correct.
Okay, good, I'm clear, thank you.
Therefore, do we have unanimous consent to accept the report up till then? And we have.
Yes.
Now we're on number 1.
Okay.
So, overall timeline sequencing of steps.
Well, that would be outline, the outline of the report. Okay, sorry, we're through there. I'm sorry, Diane. Yeah, go.
Okay, well, we went. So for section 1, edits, changes, suggestions,
Comments,
comments.
comment. So it says, this outline and Gantt chart are based upon many assumptions, some delays are likely. Where was the Gantt chart? I didn't see any Gantt chart attached to this report to review.
We
So I
haven't
don't,
seen- yeah, we haven't
so I
seen
don't,
anything.
I don't know what it is that we're
That is a-
agreeing to.
That is a very fair point, and
Several
that,
appendices were not seen.
that is a great point. Let's see how-
Yeah, and I don't know what those assumptions were that were in that Gantt chart, that it's not, we need to understand those.
This is probably the one that, we put together.
Yeah, it's modified.
Okay.
version of that. I can pull it up, and I'm also gonna email it. That is a, attached Article 3 indices. So we can pull that up. The budget is the exact same thing that was in the grant submission, which we can totally pull up. If we share the timeline, this is a modified version of Rick's grant chart, or Gantt chart, which Rick did review from the other side of the world.
Can you throw it, copy paste into this document?
I'm sorry?
Can you copy and paste it into this document?
I don't, because the format of it is as a PDF and the document is as a doc, I don't know if I can do that in Google Docs. I mean, you would maybe know better than me.
Yeah, email it to me.
Okay, it did just get circulated to you and others as the appendices.
In like an email?
He just sent it as an email.
Yeah. Sorry that I didn't notice that before.
Okay, here's my name.
Did that come through, Walker?
Yeah, hold on.
Yes, 3 appendices attached. Yep.
The timeline is the only one that is an actual new one. The budget is literally straight out of the grant application, and the engineering ventures letter is directly out of the grant application. So those have, not that people read them thoroughly before, but at least they're not totally new.
To prepare all of them as far as a timeline.
Oh, I can't do it, I can't edit this.
It was January, February, March.
If I make
April,
you,
so the Act 250 one is the one as far as the rules around that, in the wetlands, because I don't believe they're gonna have anything done till spring with the state.
Well, I mean, we're not doing it because our project's over, so.
Right, but I don't know if that's an accurate, would be an accurate timeline if it's involving permits with the wetlands for Act 250. I don't know if that's correct then.
Arian,
did that work, Walker?
I have it. Vicky's asking a question about the permitting. Is this, I mean, it looks like the timeline stopped in April because basically we're stopping. But there was a question about like what will happen with the state and Act 250.
Yeah, I guess my question surrounds, based on I was reading, I put the comment in there, Compass Vermont, but anyway, it sounded like, in regards to Scott and overextending his authority potentially, and the rulings that now have to be made up, and then it has to go to legislature, who has to comment on it before it can go into law, or however you want to put it. They were talking getting out until spring before any of that's taken care of. So how does that, and I can't, you'll have to excuse me, but I can't see that really good, and that's really tiny.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And so I don't know, I think that Gantt chart, if it doesn't reflect out on the permitting for that piece, like April or later, is probably, I don't know if it's really accurate here.
But I
That's my
think this
question.
chart is just reflecting what we were thinking we were doing if we got the funding. It's not
written in stone.
It's not what would happen overall politically or whatever with, at least that's my understanding. It relates to our committee, not to the state.
The catchphrase there as the preface to that is, if full funding is secured later, the timeline would need to shift back accordingly.
Right,
Yeah.
that was in the previous
So that
document.
that is, sort of saying, I mean, there's a lot of things on there in the sense that, when would be the right month if funding is uncertain? And the answer is there's no certainty until funding is certain, if that makes sense.
Well, and also the construction and all that would be, part of the grant application was to hire somebody who would project manage the project. So then they would they would establish a timeline on the construction and the actual, this was, yes, all preliminary.
Yeah,
work.
and that was, so that's one of Rick's biggest pieces of feedback was on the construction section of this, was that this timeline only goes June and then says continue until complete. And the construction portion doesn't start until the continue until complete section, because the likelihood that it would, even in a perfect full funding scenario, the likelihood that that was gonna somehow be complete before June is like impossible. Yeah.
That was not.
So that, there's a couple of things that sort of stretch off into the infinity side, I guess I would say, of this chart, and that's the construction and the lot sales.
Okay.
So if that makes any sense.
So what are we doing?
Walker, you should have full permission
Yeah, I
on
put them
that.
in there,
Okay.
both of them.
So can I, okay, so I kind of get the infinity part, but, just, okay. So this is saying, are we going to talk about this whole chart now, or are we going to talk about it in the sections?
Well, it is referred to in this section that we're in right now, so it does sort of make
Okay.
sense to talk about it now.
All right.
And I apologize that I didn't send it over in the other email, and, yeah, wish somebody pointed that out sooner, so.
Okay, just let me, I'll just do the, just glance one more time on it, thank you, cost budgeting. Okay,
And again, the predicate of this chart was that full grant funding, and
Right.
that funds would be available starting in January, and that's why the January start date.
okay, and that's the same for CHIP, as you're assuming that
It's-
CHIP will be reviewed in January because the funding will be known at that time.
I
Yes,
think,
but also CHIP is only available to start applying for starting on January.
Right,
Yeah, and
then-
so-
Okay, but there's a process with CHIP, if you submit it, there's a period of time, that they have to do on-site visits and things like that. Do we need to add anything here to show any extension on that Gantt chart on what it might possibly be? Or are we leaving it this, saying this is as far as we got?
I think I'll just read this in. A detailed Gantt chart timeline is provided as Appendix A. While this timeline uses fixed dates, it is based upon assumption of full project funding being secured by January 2026. If full funding is secured later, the timeline would need to shift back accordingly. And so, because we can't show sort of an infinite timeline of multiple dates, it's saying that if funding structure were to be somehow fall into place, 6 months later, kind of everything else gets shifted back 6 months accordingly. And January becomes
Think of
July.
the columns as saying month 1, 2, 3,
Got it,
4,
yeah.
rather than the exact month.
Okay,
Okay.
That's the-
yeah, that would be better for me.
If it were revised to state that, and would that
I don't care if
be?
it does or not, but
Yeah, I
for
just helps
her-
me.
Yeah, that's
I
a
just
good-
don't
that's
think
a great-
it's
it's a great
totally-
point, yeah.
Right, I don't think it's a totally accurate, I just
think
don't
it-
want them to look at this and say, well, this is how it's actually gonna happen, but if you've got a clause in there that says it's, you go either way and everything, I'm fine. So can I'm okay with that, if everybody else is for the moment. I do have one other comment to make on just the items that are listed for the general timeline, but I'll wait and see if anybody has any more comments on that.
When I'm working projects, we often label them month 1,
Yeah.
or weeks,
Right,
usually
yeah.
week 1, 2, 3, 4, not actual dates.
Right,
So you
right,
know it's gonna start.
yeah, I like that idea. Okay.
Have we reached consensus on number one?
I do
And the
have
changes to
I
number
just
one?
have one more comment on the permitting, item 3. It just says local DRB and stormwater. Engineering Ventures brought up that there's a lot of permits that needed to be done or written, and this kind of implies like we only have 2, local DRB and stormwater. For permitting.
If you review the detailed comments of the Engineering Ventures letter, which is the Appendix C,
Right.
it does talk about several possible permits.
Right,
And then when we get into the permitting section, it does address some of those permits to the extent that if the governor's executive order holds in substance, the real permits are stormwater and local DRB, like those, everything else is done. That's a true statement.
it is, I mean,
Yeah.
because they had a whole list, and don't those are all written up and everything? Or
I think, I mean, we can review the letter and go through it and discuss it, but it's not actually, there's a lot of considerations that they mentioned, but in terms of actual permits that need to be applied for, it's a pretty thin
Okay,
section.
I just don't want them
Yeah.
to think there's two things and there's like a list of 7 or 10 on their sheet, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it pretty much is two things if the governor's executive order holds.
Okay, and one more question is kind of a little bit off a little bit. Do you know if the Act 250 interim exemption had any conditions that applied to it?
So the exemption that was granted for the project is valid if, unless changed by the legislature, is valid if construction starts before January 1st, 2027, I believe. We can review the permit, but I believe that that's the stipulation.
Okay, but there were, other than construction starts, there was nothing about the sewer, the water, and adequate soils that had to be taken care of? There wasn't anything special that
The project has to be on town water and sewer, and it has to be,
on.
and it has to be 75 units or less.
And it has to be within the town buffer.
It has to be within the neighborhood development area as well.
So it only has to start, it doesn't have to finish by January of 2027?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding. We can review that, and we can pull it up and go through it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
we accurately reflect that it's construction start only if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
have we now reached consensus on
Sorry.
Article, or Section 1 of the final report as amended?
There's a couple little typo questions I believe that we should just review. And there was one earlier that, I'm sorry, Vicky, this says to disregard who's Compass Vermont.
Yeah, I'm sorry, didn't realize it was in the document at the time. But they do, if anybody wants to know, they do have an excellent article out there right now on Scott, the Act 250 and the timelines for everything. It's wonderful.
Okay, looks like there was a semicolon or semicolon that was missing. Great, I do some small typos. Walker added deleted space. Chris, there's a couple things. I think it is would instead of will as a conditional tense.
Can I see this now?
And then higher.
We aren't seeing your edits.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought this was. God, I gotta share this whole thing
No,
again.
no, we're still on one.
Okay, good.
You have to vote on that.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, there were a couple things that were just like, there was a colon, a space, there was also, I think there was if we're in section 1, there was a if then, I think there's a question about if this was a would or a will. My understanding is because it starts with if, it would be conditional and it would be a would.
That is, would need to be, were to be secured, something like that, right? Or,
Sure.
Walker, I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
He's mumbling to himself anyway.
Okay.
yeah, sorry. Oops.
He's editing it on the fly anyway.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're there. So do we feel, are there other things about this section? I think Vicky, you had some said the general timeline would proceed as follows. Did you have an additional question about that?
No.
Just, does this need to be capitalized?
Oh, no.
Sure.
Oh, well, maybe I do. The assumptions aren't even in there, as far as what the assumptions were.
Everything in there is.
I mean, how do they know what our assumptions are that we base that chart on? I'm just, I mean, maybe they don't care, but I would want to know, what did you think when you were putting it together? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I mean, many of those things are timeline dependent that are
Full
sort of,
funding, I see.
yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Okay, forget it. Yep.
I'm going to say that we've accepted the changes to Section 1 and move on to Section 2.
please.
Do we want to, do we have a general sense, I mean, as we've done previously, I guess we would say, is anybody feel that this section is not generally accurate and complete? So we're missing one member. I'm just gonna say one member of the was absent.
So number 2, project design. Edits, comments, changes.
So I'm assuming that the in-person option means that a meeting could be held publicly to go over this.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So it says, the schematic should be revised, presented to the public via online survey with paper or in-person option. That piece right there. Does that mean that hearings are gonna happen, so public hearings, so people can come in and comment on design?
I think it's sort of open to whoever's executing that, but certainly, I know that we did have, when we had 2 rounds of public surveys, we had a couple that were put out as paper, in addition to some of the, like the community design workshop that had people in person, so.
Yeah, I think if it's a design and the community wants to get involved, I really think that some open meetings so that they can come in and participate that, not just, through technology.
I agree.
Okay, if we said, and, just to emphasize that point, if we said and/or in-person meeting options?
I would say and in person.
Yeah,
Yes.
not give an option,
Okay.
it's both of them.
That's- feels like a good edit.
Great. Additional comments on this section?
Seeing none, do we have unanimous consent to accept section 2 as amended just now? Okay,
Yes.
go on to section 3. Detailed budget and financing options. Questions, comments, edits?
Yeah, I don't know, before I get into anything, mine starts in B, so I'll be quiet about A.
I guess,
Under, B, community housing and infrastructure?
Are we under the detailed budget and finance option?
I think, so one edit I would love to make to this, to number 3, is included as appendix B. In the email I received, it's listed as appendix A.
Oh, you're good. I think you're correct. Yes.
Wait, the appendix down below.
The Gantt chart is appendix. You're right. The Gantt chart is listed specifically as appendix. So that sounds like just the budget needs to actually be amended itself. If I'm saying this correctly, that the budget heading needs to be amended to say appendix B instead of appendix A, because the document refers to it as appendix B. Is that correct?
In the documents that you sent me, the PDFs, I have appendix A, and that is the budget. And then I have appendix B, and that is the timeline.
Okay, so they need to either match each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it seem logical to include the Gantt chart as appendix A since it's listed first in,
Yes.
and then switch the budget
That's
to
what I was
B?
gonna say.
Yeah, that's
That's what I was
fine.
gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll update those right now.
I'll change that.
Walker's gonna change them.
Okay, great.
Just one little thing here that might make things a little easier is just under, when you have A, and then you have A, B, C, D, maybe that should be like a small 1, 2, 3, 4.
We could do that.
I don't know, it just seems like,
Yeah,
That
you're
idea,
right.
your
When you do
perspective makes more sense.
outlines, that would be the normal,
Right.
or even just bullet points would be fine, either way.
yeah, or bullets, whatever.
Yeah, I'll change that. Sorry, so. You're saying change this to like, just a straight bullet?
Either a bullet or just a little, like, one, little, like, lowercase 1, then 1, 1,
Oh,
111, you know how,
I.
yeah, I. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant, Arian. Above, under A. Sorry, I'm sorry. What, you had A, capital A for other grants, and then underneath that, it seems like they should be not numeric.
Okay.
Not alphabetical, but numeric. And then under Vermont House, it would be B again.
Yep.
Yeah. It just seems like it would be easier to refer to that. I guess you could say AA, AB, ACD, but.
I like your eyes.
I think grammatically you're correct, but it didn't bother me.
I think you can just highlight the list and change your.
And change it to a different format.
If you're you can, but I can't.
I can't either, I'm horrible with
Word
that.
just screws with me when I try and do that every time.
I know, right, me too.
It was like 2 hours yesterday trying to finish text within a heading.
Other additions, corrections, edits, questions on section 3?
Yeah,
Yes,
oh, okay, go ahead. I'll go later. I got, no, my section's B, so you go ahead and do it.
my section's C. So.
Okay, oh, I'll go first then. Anybody else on B? Okay, before I start? Okay, so for me, you know, CHIP is both affordable housing as well as moderate income housing, and I think that's important to specify here, because it's not just low, and the rules surrounding the housing are different than you would get into with a CDBG-DR grant. And I think that's important to have both somehow reflected that it is for both of those.
Where would you suggest putting that?
Well, this new program, I don't know, this new program, how would you say it? How do they say it? Is utilized for, I don't know. How do
To
they say it?
specifically pay for housing infrastructure, but both, I'm sorry, what did you say, moderate income?
Yeah, I think they use the word moderate income and affordable housing. Moderate income housing development and affordable housing development are the two terms that they use in CHIP.
It's not actually specifically for affordable housing. It's only if we want to do 85 and 85%
Well,
municipal and school.
Right, I mean, there's rules surrounding it.
Otherwise, it's 75 and 85.
Right, there are rules surrounding it, but it says they'll determine the proposed housing development meets the criteria of affordable housing development or moderate income housing development, and set the maximum, which you're getting at, education tax increment at whatever, 85 or the other one.
Yeah, so it's 85 if it is in that, but it's not specifically built for affordable housing.
I mean, actually, the
CHIP is not.
thing I'm reading online says a new statewide initiative to fund infrastructure for housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's only if you are wanting that 80, or, it actually forces you, if it's affordable, you're at 85% of education. But other than that, that's the only part of the law that is touching affordable housing.
And it also says to encourage the development of new housing by helping municipalities fund necessary infrastructure upgrades such as roads, water, and sewer lines. Kind of says that.
So do we need to change anything?
But I mean,
I mean, to me, it seems like this is kind of a summary of what happened, and if they want to look into, if the select board needs to know what CHIP is, they could look it up.
Right.
I mean,
Right,
it's not like we
there's a
have to
50-page
define,
document if you
yeah,
want
I mean,
more
it's not like
info.
we have to define every single,
Okay, so under B, with debt financing, isn't it true that they still have to call a hearing on that?
Yeah, and that's stated in this document.
Gosh,
So if the debt, so
only if it's a municipal bond, otherwise if it's.
provides the financing, the
But,
debt
and that was gonna be
municipal.
my question too, because the town knows if they've got to take that bond out, no matter what reason, they have to have a vote. Why does it have to be in here? I don't care that it's edited or not, but I just wondered.
Well, because as structured and as I think, others who've read into this, please correct me if you see anything wrong, but there's 2 steps to CHIP. One is the allocation, which is authorization to use the increased tax revenue, and that is provided by the state. And once that's done, The debt is a totally different step that's independent from that authorization, and the debt can be any form of debt.
Sure.
Meaning that if it's municipal, the path is sort of obvious and we know what that looks like, but it doesn't have to be municipal debt. So that's the attempt to summarize
It doesn't need to be edited. I just wondered why we were telling the select board their job. They know their job.
Yeah, I mean, fair question. I mean, I think to me, the point of having that in there is to make it very clear that there's multiple types of debt and that they have different requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further changes, edits? Section 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Section C. I don't agree with the language saying with the likely exemption. I'd rather that say with an exemption, because it may not be likely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It's if with an exemption from Vermont wetstone tool.
So
That's good for me, thank you.
Is this saying that we are, so if we agree to vote yes to this section, we are saying that we would be in favor of the town exploring increasing the amount of lots?
I think that the statement is only what is it generally is it the information true, not that we're advocating for anything, because, you know, for example, you know, I think some of us may not think that applying to some of these other grants would be worth the time. Is it factually true that we could? Absolutely. There's a decision and assessment that needs to be made about whether it is a good idea to in fact do those. Does that make sense? Like so, for example, one of the grants is State Clean Water and Drinking Water Revolving Loan Funds and Grants. It is totally a viable.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
It's also factually true that we've gotten feedback that public folks are not in favor of having more lots. So if we're saying one side that this is possible, we should also say, well, it's possible, we've gotten this feedback, and that's the only feedback we've gotten around increasing lots. Because I feel like this is spinning it as a viable potential revenue source.
solution, recommendation.
Yeah.
I agree, it could be taken that way.
Yeah, so I would not feel comfortable with this.
And I also want to say that if they chose a different option, like CHIP, for example, and some of the stuff that I've read, they actually encourage you to not necessarily add more lots, but to add, you know, higher pricing lots so that you can pay off the debt sooner. So I think it depends on what is being utilized for, you know, acquiring the monies or whatever, what the approach is to determine what that lot sale piece should say. That's my viewpoint.
I think Chip is talking about housing value, not lot value. So the increased land tax income is a drop in the bucket compared to the amount of housing value on the land in Chip.
Would it be, so this talks about more sellable lots, perhaps a revision that says more sellable land, which is really speaking to the executive order that increases the land area, which could be sold as same number of lots, they're just bigger and they're selling for more money. The ultimate take-home point of that is that selling more land would bring in more revenue if it's possible. I mean, that's the sort of factual.
I think you're ignoring my point though, where I'm saying you're showing this perspective, you're ignoring this one.
I think you're also ignoring the fact that a lot of people, there were significant people who said, great, more lots. You know, there were drawings that came out of the community design workshop and surveyed in public.
That was not we didn't do that as a committee. So I'm saying, if we're giving a report,
we took the work of, our committee was specifically directed to take the work that was done prior to this committee and take that into consideration. That work was done prior and therefore it should be considered.
But why are you choosing to exclude the public feedback that we got around this?
Because I think that public feedback is ambiguous in the sense that there's feedback on both sides of that particular viewpoint. That's my view.
I agree with that, and I also feel like this is just a factual statement. I mean,
Totally.
The fact is that if we included more sellable lots or land, it would significantly increase project revenue. We're not saying there that we're advocating for that. It's a simple fact.
So maybe we include a section that says public feedback received by this group. We go through the notes, copy and paste it, and then we're done.
I disagree with that addition.
What
Should-
do other folks think? I have to agree with Kirsty that in the sense that, so as I'm reading through all of this, that the sale lot revenue paragraph did strike me as a little, well, I had a similar reaction, and I understand factually it's true, obviously. I mean, the more you sell, the more you get. But I'm trying to look back, and I feel like this is supposed to be not just, well, I think that the fact is that there is opinions on both sides of this issue in particular. This is a very
Totally.
triggering issue out of all the issues. And I think that it would be disingenuous and not to reflect. We don't have to put an emphasis on one or the other, but to state that factually there is support and there is also dissent.
If we added a statement that said something of like, pursuing this could be contentious or something like that.
Or what, maybe this is not a recommendation, or while not a recommendation, this is a fact, I don't know, there's.
This is part
Do
of
we know
making
it's
sure
gonna
how the
significantly
recommendation-
increase project revenue? Because we don't even know what we're gaining. Do
Well,
we
I
know what
think
it means, significantly increase,
I mean,
or increase project revenue? I don't know, because I don't know how we
Over
determine
whatever.
that, right?
We could
How do
remove
you
the word
determine that?
significant.
I think.
I don't get it.
I need to
I
think
could
about this
get
for a
behind
second.
striking significantly, that's an assumption, you're right.
That seems fair.
And then at the end,
I'm kind of confused by this sentence over what it would cost to add more lots.
Should we say more land? I think that was, is that,
I think you need infrastructure,
Yeah, I don't know what we're trying to say here,
whatnot.
to try, what the point we're trying to, the
Selling
true
more-
point we're
yeah,
trying
I
to
took
get
it to
at.
mean selling more lots would cover more of the infrastructure costs.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's how I read it.
Essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's also, as Liz said, if let's just say if you have if we use it as a land base, let's say there's 8 acres that are sold of lots. And then if there's 10 acres that are sold of lots, and that's why I would actually advocate changes from more sellable lots to more sellable land, regardless of what the size of those lots are, the potential that does bring in more revenue from sales is, I mean, almost, I would say virtually certain.
So could we say,
Yeah.
sorry, if I had a sentence in my head as you were talking, Arian, and it slipped out, but something to the effect of, it is the potential for increasing
Expanding.
sales.
it should be noted that the number of lots has been contentious. within the
Yeah, something,
community.
I hate the word contentious, but
Lot density.
there's been,
There's been
debate,
disagreement on
Has
lots.
been a subject of debate.
Has been a subject of debate.
yeah, respect the source.
Totally.
You could add significant debate, just kidding.
It doesn't seem to really be,
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah.
and it's more, I mean, that's me on Facebook.
I mean, we're all
Inhuman,
playing field, the thought of tearing up the environment is a bad thing.
yeah.
Plainfield has never been for that kind of thing.
Well, I just think that the density was
You live
in
an
question.
environment that's torn up.
Do we think that lot or land, more sellable land or lots is the right word here?
The disaster.
So I think that the issue, well, there are a couple issues that I think we have to somehow integrate into this. And one is the use of wetlands, even if it were allowed under the state exemption, and the density. So those are the two issues I feel like we need to, we say, yes, it's potentially a viable source of revenue, because you could technically do these things. But the feedback that has been given to this committee, we are hearing that, that's not necessarily the way, I don't know, those aren't the right words,
Can we
but
add a
that's
paragraph
the.
at the end of the report with that kind of information in it?
That maybe seems like that seems like maybe a good solution to just have some additional commentary at the end.
Yeah.
And or something at the beginning that could speak similar to the recommendation of the select board on the grant, where we said, look, there was pretty much uniform agreement on most of these aspects. The part of this that was open, that was where there's disagreement was specifically on this notion of number of lots and density. And maybe if we included something like that at the beginning,
Yeah,
something
somewhere in there, totally.
And the wetlands.
I would love to make the point that there was also contention and disagreement around what affordable is, and increasing the project revenue would make it more affordable, right? So, I don't know, it's so complicated, and yes, I do think that a paragraph at the end or at the beginning.
Yeah, summary.
Also, one thing we haven't talked about, and this might be opening up a can of worms, but increased density, but call it lots, call it units, call it land, whatever, affects the actual feasibility of whether this whole thing can work.
Right, I was
And
gonna cite,
decreased density and decreased lots dramatically affects its feasibility. And the targets are not particularly congruent with where, the feasibility targets aren't particularly congruent with where Plainfielders want to be in their previous goal.
Yeah. we should
And
put
so,
that. Yeah.
I don't know,
That's actually not a bad summary.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know if anybody had a chance to dig, we've talked about some of those groups, but just modeling out the CHIP funding and
Right.
how the lot sales go back. Walker had some very well thought out spreadsheets looking at this to show that, if you put 10 to 20 houses on this, the likelihood that you could pay back the infrastructure cost within the period, it doesn't work.
it doesn't work unless you have big mansions. If you have it partially grant funded and partially CHIP funded, it barely works. You still have to have really expensive $600,000.
at 20 houses, you're
That's
saying.
20 houses.
But when it got up to
When it
like,
got to 30
right, it was,
units, things started to be feasible if you got a significant DR grant. If
So
you
I
got
feel
the-
like
yeah.
there's a few different categories that we're talking about, adding a note about. So what Walker, that first sentence you just said, I think that explains part of the rub really well. What else did we just talk about?
This is lot sale revenue, this is a budget section. So
Yeah.
this is lot sale revenue and how it can increase,
Yeah.
or how it would affect the project. I would say also housing value, final housing value also affects it. So, we've done modeling on both lot sale revenue and, how much housing value we want on the land. And I think there should be some paragraph somewhere in this document that says that there's a significant there's a lot of disconnect or disagreement on what people want, both on the affordability front and density front, and what is financially feasible to put on that land.
And putting that in the budget section makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Eli said too.
I'm just raising my hand verbally.
Nobody's.
Go ahead, Kim.
All right, okay, great. So I'm a little wary. I'm observing that while we have gotten a lot of feedback that people are concerned about density, we never solicited a broad survey of feedback. And I also know that there are people who are very uncomfortable with debt. We heard a lot like, don't take on debt, don't take on debt. Some of this could be town debt. Maybe it's not even direct taxpayer debt if it's in CHIP and it's privately financed. But the overall gist, the big picture of this are like, these are the options. And I wonder if with, not including any other notes on this project, in this section 3, is it worth saying, here, if any of these options are desirable? There may be various factors that make some of these desirable and less desirable, but just kind of underlying, like, should it be popular? And I might go so far as to offer you could have a finance option number 4 of having another bond vote. I just don't think that would be popular.
Well, there's also maybe in this paragraph below the point number 3 here, none of these financing options are mutually exclusive, so all of them can be used at the same time. And, you know, then maybe something along the lines of the statement that Walker made earlier that sort of said, the financial realities of this, I don't know, how did you say it, Walker?
I was just like,
Feasibility, he said.
there's been disagreement or sort of a disconnect between what people have voiced that they want and don't want, and also the sort of financial reality and feasibility of this project on that land. So there's a lower and upper threshold of what's viable. And and that is a threshold that, you know, isn't very flexible in reality based on the land geography and money, whether it's CHIP or grant or both. And then there's, you know, sort of, so I think maybe just saying, this is what we've observed, right? We've observed that there's, you know, land sale revenue and housing value affect the feasibility of this project. And there's a threshold that maybe does not meet public expectation, especially around affordable housing, like what that is, and density.
Okay,
and then
so
later on we can talk about the environmental concerns. This is
so
just
okay, so I started to try to type that out. Our observations are that land sales revenue, and I'm sorry, what did you say?
and housing value, tax revenue,
and tax revenue
affect the feasibility of this project, and there's lower and higher thresholds of density and lots that, you know,
Impact.
where the project becomes both unfeasible and overly dense. And we've observed that there might be a disconnect between what people want in this town and what is
financially
feasible and
Yeah,
viable
I
for the
think
project.
that okay, so our observations, so is there a way do I need to start the sentence over again, or how would you put that in? Sorry.
I have it pulled up.
The focus is still driving me.
I know, I'm having a hard time looking at it.
I feel like I
Yeah.
need glasses.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where you're at.
It could be your age.
The last paragraph of that section.
It could be. Yeah, more gray hairs.
It's just hitting you.
I think that.
you don't have glasses yet.
I know, thank you.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know, I should try everybody else's on and see if the screen looks better.
Yeah.
So just to, yeah, Walker, great, you're right
Okay.
there.
Our observations are that land sale revenues and tax revenue and housing value tax revenue affect the feasibility of this project.
It's supposed to be AFFECT, AFF?
Oh, yeah, that would be affect, great.
And that, this is the wrong sentence. There is a,
Can you just say there are differing opinions about what is
Yeah, and that-
desirable? Or
there are differing opinions about what is desirable.
Versus
And,
feasible.
versus feasible, well, yeah, versus feasible. I mean, we haven't, to be honest, this committee hasn't really done a deep dive on what is feasible from a financial perspective, and we haven't communicated it particularly well with each other. And to a certain extent with the town. So,
To address Kirsty's issue from way back, can we maybe edit the first line of that that says none of the financing options are mutually exclusive or specific recommendations?
None of these financing options or specific recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I wonder if there's someplace earlier on in the beginning, the financing options include, maybe if we just say something where up here, like none of which are specific recommendations.
Sure.
Does that maybe make more sense as a preface?
Sure.
I think that's good. It's always fun to edit by group, isn't it?
Oh, edited by
Right. I think we're doing,
Hey, we're doing a great job for this many people.
We're halfway through, so.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
so Walker, how are we feeling about this added sentence here?
I mean, I'm okay with it.
I think we could probably wordsmith it to death.
Yeah.
Right. Does that get us to the point that feels good about this section? That we could?
I mean, it seems like it's a good summary of what the different options are for financing.
So put it another way, does anybody have any objections to moving on?
Okay, then we've reached consensus on section 3.
We didn't add in Daddy Warbucks, you know, I mean, or,
Thank you, I have a 2-year-old.
Section 4,
Okay.
comments, edits, additions, subtractions.
This is pretty straight.
This is all we've all discussed a million times at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the letter from Engineering Ventures is now appendix C.
Oh, did I get that letter from you, Arian?
Yes, yeah, it is in there.
This calls it appendix C, that, my memory says that's correct.
I think I got that one right, I just messed up the other
I
two.
think you're right.
Yeah, thank you.
Hold on.
Oh, that's good. Oops.
I got it. There we go, you can see.
Sorry, we're here, looks like there was one stormwater correction, just on the, bringing it as one word. Thank you, Christie.
Okay.
Are there, I'm not seeing anything in the text here, are there questions, conversations on any of the specific points?
For the construction management, are we on D?
That is point number D, yes.
Yeah. How did we get to 5 to 10 months? Was it always that? I thought for some reason we've been throwing out
There-
a year to 2 years. And now we're down to 5 to 10 months.
My understanding from the conversations with Rick was that was the window that was contemplated by the cost estimator of 5 to 10 months.
That's kind of the best case
And
scenario.
that's the town's construction, not people's houses construction.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
so infrastructure construction, you want to
Okay.
say, or something like
Yeah,
that?
something
Okay,
that
so
clarifies
infrastructure
it.
construction management, change that
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
just to, as a preface, and then we just use construction after.
So where was it? Is at the end of D, it refers back to an appendix C from Engineering Ventures. Is that the same letter that they sent out for permitting? That, and so nothing's changed, we don't have a second letter, it's just that same
It's the
one.
same letter that was submitted with the grant, yeah.
In point F, housing development, lots sold directly to housing developers, I was under the impression that with the CDBG VR block grant funding, those lots would be given. Do we want to put in like sold or given?
I'm sorry, where are you, Eli?
F.
F.
Number F.
Oh,
Okay.
and F. They say here.
Lots.
Mm-hmm.
Lots sold or granted directly
Okay.
to housing developers, nonprofit or for-profit, I don't know. Yeah,
That seems like a good point, yep, okay.
Okay, and it appears twice then.
Does it?
Yeah, I think so, unless my
Lots
printers.
sold or granted to
Lots sold to individual, lots sold or
granted down
Yeah,
granted to
next,
individuals.
beginning of the next paragraph,
Lots sold to individual, lots sold, oh, okay, or
right there,
granted.
sold or granted.
Thank you.
Is there, okay, I think it's taken here, never mind.
Section 4, anything else? Have we reached consensus on section 4? Hearing no objections, we'll move on to section 5.
I have a
Oh,
question,
wait,
sorry. Just a question about so I see that there's a, provision for a clawback in occupancy, provisions for individuals, but not for developers. Is that true? Because shouldn't they be held to this?
Yeah, that seems like a great idea. Lots sold or granted to individuals and developers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good catch, yeah.
Now,
Yeah, no,
section 5.
Appears to be fine.
I think there was something about selling directly in maybe the marketing plan. I'm not sure.
Direct mail?
No, it was selling the lots directly. I'm not sure where I saw that. I don't know.
Realtor partnerships?
It wasn't the realtor, it was like, or, I think it was a statement, I must think it was in the, maybe, yeah, okay, yeah, where it says, decided earlier whether lots will be marketed through realtor channels or sold directly under realtor partnerships.
I'm sorry, where are we?
Number 4,
Oh,
under,
this previous section.
No,
I just highlighted it.
under lot sales plan 5,
Oh,
number
okay,
4.
sorry.
Yeah, so, maybe, I guess it's just a point, we didn't even really talk about that. We didn't really talk about selling, I mean, we didn't talk about how you would do that and what are the ramifications, the pros and cons about that. And I
most
don't
we
know,
talk-
we need
We
to,
did
it's
talk
just,
about it.
we did?
Yeah.
Liz basically said we have to put out RFPs to real estate.
Yeah, we have to have
folks.
a realtor.
And that was, we talked about selling it, and then Liz said, that's a bad idea. You need to put out an RFP to real estate professionals who are gonna do it. And as far as I was concerned, that was the marketing plan.
We could delete that point because this was pulled from a specific, this whole I mean, the bullet points of this section were pulled out of a section of the grant.
Yeah.
But the preface to this section does open up with saying that open market lot sales should be carried out by
Yeah.
a professional realtor.
Yeah.
So I think there
I
may have
agree.
been an internal inconsistency even within the grant application.
Yeah.
Between those points.
I think you
So
can
I would-
just delete it.
I think
Yeah,
I would
that
move
would
that we
be-
delete it.
that would be great.
Okay, great,
Thank you.
let's do that.
Okay.
Good catch, yeah.
Not-for-profit partnerships that specialize in low to moderate income housing. Instead of just low income housing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, where is that? Oh,
5.
Okay.
And is number 7 still 40 prospective buyers? I think it's, I don't think that number's probably right anymore.
I think we have more, yeah.
Well, we had more than that at one point, we had like 50 some, but I'm
But
sure we,
then
yeah.
another survey was,
We could-
Eli
we-
did
we-
some work on that, I'm just not sure if
If we
40
could
is
just delete
correct.
40 as a number and just say to prospective buyers.
That works for me.
That works for me.
There are 58 on my emailing list right now, but I
Yeah.
don't think we should specify.
I agree.
Okay.
I mean, like my wife keeps pointing out, I could say I'm interested, but, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have no intent, just, so, just,
80-20 rule.
yeah, exactly.
Are we there on section 5?
Yeah.
Yes,
We-
as far as I'm
okay.
concerned. I don't know what everybody.
Hearing no
else thinks.
objections, we have reached consensus on section 5. We'll move on to section 6.
I take umbrage with the permitting likely not required, because we've already established we definitely need wastewater permitting elsewhere in this document.
You're saying wastewater permitting?
Not
Stormwater.
wastewater, sorry,
Stormwater.
Yeah, this is just-
I wrote it wrong, stormwater.
So that is under required permitting, says state stormwater permit, that's in the next section, top, first
This is
one.
a not required list, and then this is.
Okay, that's not the way I read it. I read
Okay.
it as permitting not required.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the second one is like, that's
Yeah.
required, there's no doubt, yeah.
You want to put the permitting, required permitting up top, and then the not required permitting down below? Because,
That would make more sense to me if, on the
Sure.
face of it, I read it that way, someone else will.
That sounds great, if we move that section.
Do we want to add for A, it is exempt until January of 2027?
That seems like a good idea. Maybe that if construction does not commence, so because that's a, just to be clear.
Qualify that,
That's a qualifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling where it still would be on that wetland piece, because things are up in the air on those rulings.
Right.
I don't know what to do about it, and I don't think it's like cut and dry here.
I mean, that's why I think there's a light clear. I mean, I think we could, it doesn't say definitively. The Attorney General did just issue a report, an analysis that said that they have rulemaking authority. So the project is a neighborhood development area and has received active jurisdictional opinion that it is exempt if construction starts prior to January 2027.
And I don't know, like, there are qualifications.
Does that seem?
Okay, I'm just like hesitant, because we don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah, I mean, I would say that is as of the date of this report exempt.
I'm sorry?
That is, as of the date of this report exempt until January 2027.
Okay, that is,
Anybody reading this in the future probably should have a little nudge to double check.
got it.
Is that what you meant?
Just like that? Yeah. Good?
Mhm.
I mean, it does say, Vicky, that it says that the wetlands regulations that, if adopted, would exempt the project from state wetlands review, and then it has the link to the regulations.
Right.
Okay,
It doesn't say they have been adopted, but if you read them as written currently, the project would be exempt. And we did get a secondary review. Pat Moulton took that up the chain to say, hey, it looks like this would exempt this project, and the response was yes, if adopted.
It's never been on, George had already established it had never been on the state wetlands map, so that automatically makes it exempt.
okay,
Also because it's in the neighborhood development area as
okay,
well.
thank you. I'm good.
Have we reached consensus on number 6, or are there additional edits, additions, questions, or comments?
Is the,
Okay. Hearing none, I think we've,
Wait, did Vicky, do you have something?
Vicky?
I'm trying to find out where the section on traffic study is. It's not in this section, is it? See, water development.
There was the DRB,
Oh, yeah.
the DRB in preliminary, in some initial conversations, had requested the desktop traffic study that was done, and that's where that would come up.
Okay, okay, and you do say project designs to date, because we know that they're going to be changing, and a new traffic study may be required.
Yeah,
We do not know
right,
that.
if there were a significant design change, that it does have to get
Okay,
reviewed,
all
yeah.
right, and you said to date, so I guess we're okay. Okay.
You want to take a formal vote on this one? Final?
Sure. Although, I mean, unanimous consent is also considered a formal vote.
Okay.
So, I mean, if there's no objections, because actually, by the rules, unless there is unanimous consent, we have to take a roll call for every vote.
Can I throw out just something, just a question, or just some comment? But I don't know if the select board understands when they're reviewing this report, and you can let me know if you think that they're going to, that we haven't identified all the risk or necessarily all the pros and cons in this report. And so when they get this report, I really think that they should scrutinize this with moving forward on anything to look at the pros and the cons and the risk. And because we didn't break this out and said, here are the risk of this. It's not presented to them in any way, shape, or form. So this is a report. It's not really a feasibility study because it's not addressing that stuff. So for me, it's important for me to have them understand that we didn't go into this deep to see what those risks may have been and to mitigate them. And that's where I'm coming from. So
Do we say, I would be in favor of putting some kind of statement at the end, and maybe that speaks to some of these other points, and specifically the leading off with, in conclusion, this report is not a feasibility study, because it definitely is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I do,
There's something else.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with this conclusion, wasn't there something else we were gonna make conclusion?
I think we already kind of addressed it.
Did we?
I
Okay.
think
Yeah,
so.
we were gonna talk about compensation.
Oh.
Playing field is being.
Environmental things? Oh, I don't know anymore.
Do we want to just do we want to reiterate sort of that the main points of, sort of some of those points about, the
Sure.
like related to feasibility?
What I would say is that this addresses our goals, right? But it doesn't address the positives and negatives of our response to our approach to these goals, right?
Yeah, it doesn't, and there is, I think, disagreement on this committee about what are the risks and what are the pros and what are the cons. And I think, I think that's more natural, but.
But I think it's good to state that, because when you paint something as, all of this is saying basically 10 out of 10 members agree on all of this, so it could be read as everyone was in lockstep.
Right.
So we're definitely not.
Do we say something along, I just put, sorry, I messed that up. We did it at the same time. And not a summary of the community, and not a summary of the community politics of this project.
Or an analysis?
Okay, not a summary or analysis, not an analysis. I mean, the analysis is better.
I think analysis is better.
I think the select board, while they may have totally not listened, definitely heard the dissension amongst the community during the grant hearings.
Right. I mean, I don't think that they doubt that there are differing opinions. I mean, you'd have to be
The
pretty,
select board, they know that.
right, yeah.
But I do think there's value in just,
Reiterating it, getting it on the record, whatever.
in this particular report, just,
And is that, I mean, while sort of a simple sentence, at least as I read it, it does at least seek to capture that there's a lot more to this than is presented here.
Yeah.
And I think, you kind of, as you said, John, to not understand, or you would have to have not been paying attention for a while to not see that there's a lot of ways of looking at it.
You wanted to say that plainly, and to say there's a lot more to all of this than is it in this report, and those raw documents and, whatever we can compile will be put on East Village website, for future PhD students.
That's sake.
Train their AIs on. Train their community development AIs on.
I would say there is a lot more to this project than is represented in this report.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, are we trying to put this in a repository?
I mean, it's likely that this lives on the town website for a while.
But not like not just this, like whatever, the reference of the plan document, lots of other work that we've created, and it's mostly all published, I think.
But where is it published? Is it
East
on
Village expansion website.
who owns that?
Okay.
It's on the town.
Yeah, there's.
It is on the town website,
Yeah.
not the other.
Maybe we
think
should
it might
print
be-
it all out
is
and
it
put it in
linked?
a notebook
That's
in the
what I
town
thought. I
office.
thought it was linked to the previous website.
You think that's silly?
I did
Well,
not
then
know
the
it for
town
50
is
report though.
assumed
Is that speaking
because
of
it's
that,
not
the
official.
JO
Yeah.
report?
Anything
That's
that
not out
was
there.
presented
I
during
don't
the
think
exec
that's
included
in
with
there.
our notes that went on the town website.
Yeah, all of that.
Right, if you dig through the community.
It's all on-
Yeah.
Okay, you want to read this for us, Arian? Make sure
Yeah.
everybody's okay with this?
In conclusion, while this report considers many aspects of the project and the goals of this committee, it is neither a feasibility study or an nor an analysis of the community politics of this project. There's a lot more to this project than is represented in this report and the numerous supporting documents generated by the EVEAC and the previous ad hoc committee.
Okay.
We all good with this?
Yes.
I think that's the end of our business, folks. How about a move to adjourn?
Well, we want to do we have a vote overall?
Sure.
That would be going back to the beginning of saying, this plan was passed on the whole by the EVAIC on, today's December 3rd.
Do we want to say plan or report?
You want to have a roll call vote just for old time's
Right, it
sake?
is a report, not a plan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When's the award ceremony?
Let's do a roll call vote. Kirsty?
Do we?
Don't get an award, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I think we earned it.
This report as a whole is, okay, yep, thank you. Yeah, you want to do the roll call? Sorry, Donnie.
Sure. So the motion is to accept the entire report as a whole. Let's do it as a roll call. Kirsty, those say aye. If you're in favor, say no.
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Walker?
Aye.
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 Aye. Kim?
Aye.
Okay,
All right.
that's 10-0, 1 absent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget rec.
And now,
It's not a
a
plan.
motion to
Report-
adjourn.
Report, it's not a plan.
I just wanna ask, why are you being so cagey around talking about the nonprofit? It's so weird to me and it makes it feel icky, I know it's probably not.
cagey is really a pejorative term. And maybe we just don't want to talk about it at this point, but for you to say cagey and shady,
It is.
and it is,
If you're doing public work,
stick to arguing with people's positions. Don't
please do not.
attack people's character.
Donnie, do
You've
not raise
attacked
your voice.
my character 3 times in public.
I felt it as well, it comes both ways.
I don't, that's irrelevant. I never have attacked your character. I have disagreed with you. You have attacked my character.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep, I guess so. We're adjourned.
I don't think you can just call it like that.
I think the chair gets to adjourn the meeting.
I think if you're doing public work and you're not in public, something's off.
It's none of your business.
I think it is.
It is not.
I mean, I still live right next to it, so it's gotta be my business. one
Well,
way or
I
another.
think that the